Hello, wrestling fans. Blake Smith from Walking Ropes, and welcome to another episode of Walking Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling presents Forbidden Door from Chicago, Illinois. To open the show, we had the buy-in. I'm just going to quickly run through that. QT Marshall and Aaron Solo are taking on Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi, I apologize. Hashi and Goto end up taking the win in that match. Lance Archer then took on Nick Comoroto in what was an unannounced buy-in match, and Lance Archer ends up taking the win there. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland then took on El Desperado and Yoshinobu Hanamaru. I apologize if I butcher any of these Japanese names tonight or today. I am not from Japan, nor do I speak Japanese, so I am doing my best. Lee and Swerve pick up the win, and after that, Team Taz calls them out once again, so we are probably going to be getting that tag match at some point soon. We then had the Gun Club the Gun Club and the Acclaimed taking on the New Japan LA Dojo. The Ass Boys got pulled away from the match by Danhausen, and Max Caster and Billy Gunn handled it themselves. They got the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that buy-in a great, because if I had not already purchased the pay-per-view, I 100% would have based off of those 4 matches. That was fantastic. It had everything you needed to do to hook you into that pay-per-view. We then get our opening match of the night. It is Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, Sammy Guevara versus Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. This is going to be an amazing match. It has so much going on. Eddie and Jericho hate each other. Yuta just never backs down, ever. And Suzuki is just insane. And Shota Umino is the son of legendary New Japan ref Red Shoes Umino, who, if you don't know, Shota was abused effectively by Chris Jericho during one of Jericho and Kenny's matches, I believe, back in New Japan. This match picks up right away with everyone trying to get the better of the other. Yuta and Guevara go back and forth, and then Umino comes in, and Yuta and Umino double teams Guevara. Umino really impresses me here as he steps right up to Jericho and takes it to him. Kingston and Suzuki start to light up each other's chests with hard chops. They go back and forth with Jericho, and his team eventually start taking cheap shots whenever they can. Eddie's team answering and just not letting up. Everyone can just start to fly, basically, and Yuta starts to roll, staying a step ahead of Jericho and Sammy. Eddie then blind tags and hits the back fist on Suzuki, and eventually everyone gets laid out, and Umino almost has it won as he drops Jericho on his head and then locks in the walls, but he gets double teamed by Suzuki and Sammy. But he just won't die. He takes them out and turns into the Judas effect from the waiting Jericho. Jericho gets the win, and you know what, for my WTR scale, I gave that a great. I think that was a fantastic way to do that match. And something new I'm going to be doing for the main matches of AEW are a standout performer of the match. For this match, it goes to Shota Umino. I had never seen him really perform. I had basically just known him as the referee's boy, and I think he absolutely killed it. We then get a winner takes all IWGP World Tag Team Championship match and a Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship match. FTR taking on Jeff Cobb and Great-O-Khan and Roppongi Vice. Roppongi Vice could pull off the heist of the year, coming in with no titles and leaving with all of them. They waste no time as everyone starts to tag in and out and trying to get the other team the edge at the start. United Empire starts to target Cash after the fact, after Dax hurt his shoulder early in the match and ended up having to leave for medical attention. He is targeted by everybody in the match, and they end up brawling back and forth. Well, Cash does hold his own by himself. But just when it seems like he wouldn't be able to keep going, Dax comes down the ramp with his shoulder completely taped up. He tags right in and goes back to work. Cash and Rocky end up double teaming Great-O-Khan, but he comes right back and the United Empire takes control once again. But Vice looks like they have it won and they just can't. Dax comes in and he starts to get controlled by Rocky when Cash slips in and they hit the big rig out of nowhere for the win. That is FTR winning the IWGP World Tag Team Championships and retaining the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. That was a fantastic match. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. And for my standout performer of the match, I gave it to Cash Wheeler. He ended up having to basically defend those titles by himself for a lot of that match, and that was fantastic. We then get Tony Schiavone talking with the New Japan World Champion Jay White and the man that is holding the New Japan US Championship, but is not technically the champion, Juice Robinson. They start talking about tonight, and Juice says that he is the true champion, and tonight is just a #1 contender match. Jay then says he will beat Cole, Page, and Okada in the same night at the same time, because this is the Switchblade era, and that is too sweet. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great, and we get another championship match, the AEW All Atlantic inaugural championship match. This is going to be an awesome match. Malachi Black versus Pac versus Miro versus Clark Connors. Black is one of the best strikers in AEW. Miro has been on a warpath. Clark is amazing coming from New Japan. And Pac has he is one of the best high flyers in the world for years. Miro targets Clark to start out, and outside, Pac and Black battle. Black and Pac go back and forth until Miro comes in and slows everything down. Miro looks like he could win it at any point, tossing Clark around the ring, and Black and Miro then try to one-up each other, hitting Pac. But then they end up fighting each other because of it. Black has had enough, and he grabs a table and props it up on the barricade, but is unable to put Miro through it. It takes all three men to get him through it, ending with Clark spearing Miro through the table. They all get in the ring and start exchanging hard shots, and Clark takes control, and it looks to end it, and he almost does, but is stopped, and everyone brawls on the ropes till Miro powerbombs them all. He locks in game over on Pac, and it looks like he's got it won when Black walks right up and spits the black mist right in his face. He then locks in an armbar on Clark, but Pac hits the black arrow on them both and locks in the brutalizer on Clark and gets the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. It was a fantastic match. And my standout performer of the match goes to Clark Connors. He really impressed me. I have not seen him much, but I knew of him. I saw the qualifier match that he did actually lose, but due to injury was able to come and perform. He did fantastic, and I just loved it. We then get the trios tag match, Bullet Club with Hikuleo and the Dudes with Attitudes. I love that name. It's great. They look to stop the Bucks from rejoining Bullet Club and having a great time. Sting makes one of the most epic entrances ever, showing up in the rafters and then appearing on the tunnel and diving on the Bucks as they enter. They flip the switch and we go. Shingo Takagi starts out for the Dudes, and he and Sting double team El Phantasmo. Darby comes in and he stays in control for a moment, but then El Phantasmo and the Bucks get overconfident and start to play with their best hits more than ever. We are definitely getting the Japan Bucks tonight. Darby does fight back and he gets the tag to Shingo, and he comes in and takes it right to the Young Bucks. Sting makes it in and he is laying out the Bullet Club left and right. The Bucks start a super kick party, but Sting eats his and stays up, laying out the Bucks and then tagging in Darby for the coffin drop, but the pin is broken up, and Bullet Club lays out Sting, but fights back and low blows Phantasmo, as the ref was distracted, obviously. Darby then hits the coffin drop on the outside to Hikuleo, and Shingo hits the last dragon for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great, and for my standout performer, I gave it to Darby Allin. He always just impresses whenever he is in the ring. We then get the announcement that Grand Slam is going to be at the Arthur Ashe Stadium once again, and Shota Umino talks with Tony Schiavone, but the JAS interrupt them and says that they have respect for him, and it clearly is just a distraction, so Jericho can hit him with a fireball. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. We then get Thunder Rosa defending against Tony Storm, and they both look ready to go tonight as they start out slow with the feeling out process, trying to see what the other wants to do. They go back and forth exchanging shots and holds, and Rosa, though, starts to take control, hitting the double knee drop in the corner and following up with a series of hard shots. She then sets up for the Death Valley driver on the apron, but Tony fights out and starts to roll herself, hitting the hip attack. And then when it seems like she is done, Rosa hits the Death Valley driver in the ring, followed by the Fire Thunder driver, but Tony just won't die. She answers with a German, but Rosa hits the final reckoning out of nowhere for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. I love it. As much as I thought Tony Storm might have won there, it still was a very good match. For my standout performer of the match, I gave it to Tony Storm. We then get our IWGP United States Championship match. Will Ospreay defending against Orange Cassidy. And on paper, some people are probably looking at this match and it's like, oh, that's not going to be anything. But I can promise you, these two are able to go unlike many others in wrestling. Orange is the slow-paced, nonchalant style wrestling, whereas Ospreay is fast-paced, high-flying, athletic, and just goes like crazy. They start out slow with Orange hitting his gimmick spots early and mocking Ospreay, feeding into the crowd. Ospreay, though, starts to roll as he runs around the ring and gets thrown into Orange by Aussie Open. Will's in firm control as he stomps Orange down in the corner and is methodically picking him apart. Orange ends up dealing with Aussie Open on the outside and then almost wins, and Orange has everyone on their feet as he sets up for the Orange Punch, but Will hits hits a cutter followed up by the Oz cutter, but he then hits the calm before the Stormbreaker and gets the win. But not before Orange kicks out of a hidden blade, which everybody thought was the definite end. After the match, Aussie Open attacks Orange, and Roppongi Vice comes out to try and make the save, but they quickly are handled, and Katsuri Shibata comes out of the tunnel and takes it right to Aussie Open, and then sets his sights on Will. They brawl in the ring, and Shibata hits a big dropkick in the corner and then locks in a rear naked choke, and Aussie Open has to rescue Will. Orange and Shibata give each other respect in the ring, and for my WTR scale, I gave that match a great. They absolutely killed it. And my stand-up performer of that match goes to Orange Cassidy. He just has that ability. It was so good. We then get Zack Sabre Jr. fighting Bryan Danielson's unannounced replacement. He was unable to compete, and because of that, he has found the one person he trusts to take it to Zack Sabre Jr., and it is Claudio Castagnoli, making his AEW debut and officially joining the Blackpool Combat Club. He even stands next to the cameraman that everyone thought was him, and then he sets his sights on Jack. He hits a big uppercut and then hits the neutralizer, and he almost picks up the win right away. Claudio and Zack start to exchange hard shots, but Claudio seems to have the edge in the start of the match. Zack starts to come back as he targets the knee and works over Claudio. Zack is keeping the pressure on, switching from joint to joint, and if Claudio starts to come back, Zack just switches and hangs on. Claudio spills them to the outside over the top rope as Zack has an armbar in. He then picks up Zack, they climb the stairs, and he tosses Zack into the ring, and then keeps going. They keep going back and forth, and Claudio swings Zack, and then Zack answers with an ankle lock, and they both look to end it as soon as they can. They exchange hard shots with Claudio, then hits a barrage of moves, ending in what I believe they called a Ricola for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great, and for my standout performer of the match, it goes to Claudio Castagnoli. He absolutely killed it. I'm so excited to see what he does in AEW, and he has blood and guts this week. And now we have our IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. Jay White defending against Hangman Adam Page, Kazuchika Okada, and Adam Cole, baby. This match is 4 of the top guys in each company competing for the IWGP World Championship. They are so different and realistically are capable of pulling out a win tonight, all of them. The holy shit chants start without even a single blow being landed, and Jay and Cole duck out and start to strategize with each other. Okada and Page shake hands, and then eventually the match finally goes. The action picks right up as Page hits a dive on Cole, and Jay and Okada brawl on the apron. Jay and Cole work together to try and take out Page and then target Okada and double team him in the ring. The action's all over the place as they switch up who they are attacking so quickly. Okada then sends Jay and Cole over the barricade and hits a dive over the top, and then brings Cole into the ring, where he hits locks in the money clip, and as soon as Jay deals with Okada, he has to deal with Page. Jay and Cole seem to be on the same side, but Cole hits a backstabber and looks to lower the boom, but Jay ducks it, and everyone looks ready to end it now. But no one can get that last shot in, and they exchange shots in the center of the ring. Page sets up for the buckshot and keeps getting stopped, so he hits Deadeye and tries once again. He hits it on Okada, but the match gets saved. It is so hard to tell who will win as no one keeps control for long. Everyone is laid out and Cole tries to end it, and Okada seems to have won it, knocking Cole loopy, but Jay comes in, hits the Blade Runner on Okada, and pins Cole for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave it an epic. It is the second match in our ranking system to do that, and for my standout performer, Kazuchika Okada, he is just a treat to watch, and I hope I will get to see him in the ring one day. We then get our main event of the evening. Yes, none of those other matches were the main event. This one is the main event. Jon Moxley, Hiroshi Tanahashi for the AEW Interim World Championship. The match that Forbidden Door has largely been built around after CM Punk became injured, and has been years in the making. Moxley's been hunting the ace of professional wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, saying he is the true ace, and says tonight Tanahashi will call him ace when all is said and done. They start out slowly feeling each other out, but also hitting some bigger moves every once in a while there. They go face to face, and all of a sudden the pace picks up. Moxley starts to stomp on Tanahashi and locks in a Texas Cloverleaf, but switches to an STF. Moxley then drops Tanahashi through the timekeeper's table, and he just barely beats the 10 count. Tanahashi then stomps on Moxley in return, and then dumps him outside, where Moxley starts to actually bleed, and he is bleeding profusely. Tanahashi flies from the top rope, and Moxley's trying to end it, hitting the hammer and anvil elbow drops, and Tanahashi answers with the high fly flow, but only gets a near fall. Moxley turns the pin into a bulldog choke, and they go back and forth some more. Moxley hits the elbows once again and then tries to put Tanahashi to sleep, but he fights out, and Moxley turns it into the Death Rider and gets the win. After the match, the JAS jumps Moxley, and Moxley's team comes to save him, but they don't have Claudio with them. They get beat down, and then Claudio finally joins them and clears the ring. For my WTR scale, I gave it an epic. It is the third match to do so. This card was just so incredible. My standout performer of the night goes to Jon Moxley. I'm looking forward to see what he does as the interim world champion. But that was Forbidden Door. My overall for the show, I gave it a great. I don't think they could have booked that thing any better with the issues they had. My segment of the night goes to the JAS throwing a fireball. And my match of the night goes to the main event, obviously. That was incredible. And the performer of the night is definitely Jon Moxley. He is going to be carrying this company on his back once again. But that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever we upload a video. And I will see you in the next one.